Good morning. So again, I'm doing Luke right now. Luke 16. Sorry, it's been a few days. I had a camera malfunction. We just got it back up online, and so I'm doing Luke 16. And Luke 16, it starts out the parable of the shrewd manager, and it talks about how this guy basically is over his head with this farmer. He's unable to manage. And so the manager, or the boss, is calling him in to fire him. And the guy's thinking, well, shoot, I'm not strong enough to go dig in the fields. I'm not strong enough for all the physical demand of what is needed. So he essentially went into the debtors of the farmer or the boss and said, "Hey, how much do you owe this guy?" And to make friends instead of following what he needed to do, he reduced what they owed without consenting his boss. Well, that's grounds for termination, always in my book. But okay, and so that's kind of how it starts out, And the guy just did all this stuff, and it talks about. Let me grab my glasses here. At the end, and it compares it to us today. So, if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches anyway? I mean, truly, who would? If you can't handle it to just as your job or whatever, nobody's going to trust you ever with that kind of responsibility. No one can serve two masters, and that's essentially what it says. Be strong to be devoted to your truth and what works for you. You can't serve two masters. You just can't do it. And I know that as I look around today in our world, I see an awful lot of that. And then I read, it's not my job to judge. So it's really kind of a struggle because what do we do? I mean, there we see many people serving two masters. The government of the United States does not serve the people like it's supposed to. In the Constitution, it represents the people. They swear an oath to the Constitution, and it seems like they have an allegiance to something else or someone else. And it's just sad. It's a sad day to see all this, but it's also motivating because I also see in the same light people who would feud before. I mean, just hate each other before joining together, and that's truly, I think, the plan. I think that's truly the plan. We need to join together, and I know that I watch some podcasts or listen to some podcasts and watch some video casts, and I participate in some of these, and I you know this morning I finished one, and I was watching it, and it's two polar opposites of the spectrum together, and the unity between them two was just, it felt good. It felt warming, and they, at the end, they said, well, we don't know how we're going to change it, but people are waking up. Well, it's simple. I mean, in my book, it's just simple. When they said that, something resonated with me, and I was like, well, first of all, we're on this money system in our nation, in our world. We're on this money situation that we need the money to live. We can't live without the money. And I think that's all a lie. It's just truly all a lie about, I don't know. I know my grandparents who came here from Norway, and I believe, I'm not sure when. I know that they came through Ellis Islands, and they were renamed because they couldn't pronounce their name there. So my last name is after the village my family's from, which is Yurda, Norway. And so today, from then till today, my grandparents came here and they were kind of placed on a reservation up north in Minnesota. And they had a farm. They could grow. They grew things. They raised cattle. They did what they had to do to survive, and they would sell their goods, what they didn't need for their family. So that's kind of how it worked. I mean, they didn't really need the money, but there's lots of goods. It's a trading thing, a bartering type thing, you know. So they would sell their goods or their stuff they raised for things, you know, like I need this vehicle to help my horses out, or I need this barn built, or this or that. It was all a barter system, and everyone helped each other. And I think that's what they were alluding to this morning, is how we're rejoining. The people are rejoining and saying, you know what, we're here to help and each other. And I guess that's what is important to me, because I want to help everybody I can, and it's just all what I'm all about. I mean, the there is no left side, right side. There is no good, evil. I mean, it there is good and evil, I guess, but it's all a choice in what we make. You know, I know right now I want to give a shout out to somebody who commented on one of my videos. Um, Big Chevy. And Big Chevy, thank you for that, because truly, you know, we all have our issues, and he pointed it out for me and then offered me a solution that would help me, and I really do appreciate that, more than you know. And so today, you know, we're talking about Luke 16, and in this word that I'm learning here, it's just it's amazing, and it's also I have an issue here that I'm going to bring up and share with you guys. You know, no one can serve two masters and all that. And then in Luke 16:18, it says, anyone who divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery, and the man who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Well, I was never married before my current wife. My current wife was married, and it was not a good situation. It was not healthy. And you know, this whole thing has been popping up a lot about adultery, and we're sinning, and you know, and yesterday I talked to a pastor friend of mine, and he said, well, we all sin. We're all living in sin. That's what we do. And I guess it's really hard to strive for to be better when you're feeling, well, I'm feeling like, you know, perhaps I'm living in sin here. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with this, because, you know, he said it was Moses' law that said men can divorce their wives. Okay, so this is long after Moses. This is New Testament stuff, I believe. And which I know it is, because it says New Testament. And yeah. So here we have Jesus proclaiming that we are living in sin. And at the end of the day, I love my wife. I do. I mean, I've known my wife since I was 17 years old, and I we were friends for many years. We were just friends. And that's really kind of what evolved into our relationship eventually, is we were friends. And you know, I was sorry to see her have to go through what she had to go through with her ex. Honestly, I'm sorry. I pray for him. I hope that he finds his peace and his happiness as well. And I don't know. I mean, she's my wife, and I love her, and I'm with her. I'm committed. And this is really the first time I've ever truly done anything like this. I mean, I never, if you would have asked me when I met her, 17, I was never going to get married. I was never going to have children. I just never wanted that for me. I never wanted to bring a child into the world that I lived in, because it was truly messed up. And that's really where I was. And so I said in other videos that I've kind of inherited children that aren't mine, but they're mine. I call them mine. I love them as if I made them. And I don't know. I you know, I don't know what to do with this. So if you guys know the answer, please comment, because the answers that I got yesterday from Moses saying it's okay is not really fitting, you know. But the thing that he did say and talk about that was fitting is he said you need to find a church because you are following these apostles, which is not a bad thing, but you're not in the community of that. And like I said many times before, I really struggle with the politics of church, the dynamics of the church, you know. And it's ironic. Last night I was talking to my wife about it, and she said, tithing, this is what my dad said to me, my wife said, tithing is keeping the lights on. You have to keep the lights on. Okay, that makes sense, you know. But what I see is not only are the lights on, but I see new staff being hired and wages going up, and it's on everybody's dime who attends the church. And then the service work that you do, and they kind of lock you in. Or for me, my last church, I was locked into that, and I really struggled with it. You know, and then there's people in the church, always, every church that I've ever been to in my whole life, that kind of look down on people, or kind of judge. Oh, you're not Christian enough, or you're this, or you're that, or everything you say, nothing is real, it's impossible, and blah, blah, blah. And it just says their faith, because all things are possible through Christ. And don't ever forget that. All things are possible. So, again, shout out to Big Chevy. Um, that helps, and we're going to do that. And I look forward to more comments and more reuniting things. And yeah, so I told Big Chevy I'm starting a new channel, which I've told you guys before, about Adventures with Dave, or It's Adventures with Dave, or something like that. And I'll let you guys know as it develops. And I'm going to be out in the world doing things to help me lose weight. And I told you guys before, this is going to hurt because I'm not in shape. I am not in shape at all. But I want to do this. I want to get in shape, and I want to prove that it can be done at 58 years old now. I want to be able to get out there and get my dad bod again, and get in shape, and be healthy and live healthy for the Lord and for everything coming our way, because none of us know what's coming. You know, I know my father-in-law, my wife's dad, he was a very good friend of mine. And before he passed, he said, I am so sorry for you. I see it. I see there's going to be bloodshed in the streets in your time. There's going to be war and unrest, and it's just going to be crazy. And everything he said has so far come true. I mean, we have people fighting with each other like crazy, and the elites just scrambling like crazy to try to keep their control over all of us. And at the same time, none of them care about any of us. They don't care about Jesus. They have the love for the money. And at the end of the day, you can't serve two masters. You just can't do it. It says it right here, clear as day. You can't serve two masters. So pick your master and serve it. That's all. Just pick your master and serve it. Don't don't try to control other people. You know, they were in this podcast or video cast I was watching today. They were talking about mind control and how everybody's susceptible to mind control. And as I look at my life, you know, I think, you know, I'm not sure about that. I'm kind of a pig-headed, stubborn kind of guy. And if you try to do some gamey crap on me, I'm going to smell it out. I mean, my number one spiritual gift is discernment. I can smell out crap a mile away. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's above me by any means. I'm not saying it's below me. I'm just saying I don't see it. I don't see it happening to me. I just don't see it. Could it? Sure, I guess. I mean, in some ways, after 9/11, I was definitely swayed one way, 100%. And then in a few years' time, watch a Muslim become the president of the United States, which was very hard for me because I was so anti that. And at the end of the day, as I'm learning now, I shouldn't be anti anything. I should love everybody and try to help them find Jesus. That one sheep that was lost out of the 99 left, the one was found. That's where the celebration is. So if we can help each other find Jesus Christ in the Lord, what a blessing. What a blessing. Truly, what a blessing that is. So, again, if you guys have any suggestions about my marriage and my am I living in sin, and how do I correct that, I'm an open book. Please comment below and let me know. And again, if this video resonates anything with you, please like, subscribe, and share it if you can. It costs you nothing and it helps this channel greatly. I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.